Hello and welcome back to another episode of Math with Zone. Today we are going to be classifying some quadrilaterals. For some of these, there's going to be multiple answers, but it's going to really ask for the most specific name that we can give for each figure. All right, so for number 2, the only thing we have is two parallel sides, which means that the only thing it can be is a trapezoid. Okay, so by definition, a trapezoid has two parallel sides, and that's all it really has for definition. For number 1, which is I've considered a little harder, which is why I did it second, it has two sets of parallel sides. So it automatically is going to be a parallelogram. Can we classify it as anything else? Do we have any right angles? We don't know. If we did, it'd be maybe a rectangle. Do we have like any other information provided to us? Maybe, that the four sides were equal. If the four sides were equal, then it would upgrade to a rhombus, but we don't. So that's all we can do is call it a parallelogram. All right, comparatively to number 3, on number 3 we have a scenario where we do have four right angles. All right, if you have four right angles, you are guaranteed to have some sort of shape that will most likely also have some sides that are equal. Are all four sides equal? No. So this is going to just be a rectangle. 4 has the top two parts are equal and then the bottom two parts are equal. So if we were to cross-section it out, we would get a 90-degree angle in the middle, a very ugly one, and this would be a kite. Number 5, there is nothing there. We don't have any parallel sides. We don't know if any of the sides are equal. So this is just a, what we call a quadrilateral. 6, we do have four sides that are equal, but we don't know if they have 90-degree increments. They definitely don't even look like they do. So this is a rhombus. Now, all rhombuses are also parallelograms. However, a rhombus is a more specific form of a parallelogram, so we would not necessarily write the parallelogram there, which is also why I kind of didn't write it on number 3. Technically, number 3 is also a parallelogram, but it's not as specific as a rectangle, and that was what we were really looking for here. Okay? So, with that in mind, they're going to throw some numbers at you at some point, but that changes nothing. Look, we got sides that are equal on opposite sides, which is an indicator that they were parallel. We also have opposite angles that are equal, which is another indicator that things were probably parallel if opposite angles are parallel. And this is a parallelogram, so we would be correct. Okay? Looking at this one, number 10, you got angles across from one side, kind of like catacorner to each other, that are congruent. But the other two don't. They do add to 180. Excuse me, they don't add to 180. They do all four of them add to 360, but that's with every quadrilateral. If you have two opposing catacornered angles like this at the diagonal that are equal, and they're the only two that are equal, that is the definition of a kite, which also happens here. Okay? But what's the difference between these two? These two, the angles are equal. Well, look at the sides. This side and this side aren't equal. And those are supposed to be equal for a kite, which means that this is just a regular quadrilateral. Well, are we sure that 10 is a kite then? This one is a kite because look at the sides. These two sides are equal, and these two sides are equal. So this was, in fact, a kite. 12, you got these two right here that are congruent. That's a convenient fact. But more importantly is that these two add to 180. 74 and 106 add to 180, and 74 and 106 add to 180. That makes it a trapezoid. But this is a unique version of a trapezoid where the opposite sides are equal and the opposite angles are equal. So this is an isosceles trapezoid, much like the isosceles triangle that has two sides that are equal. The isosceles trapezoid also has two sides that are equal and two sides that are not equal. Okay. All right. Here, these are more my favorite, more my style. State all the possible names for the figure. So if we're stating all the possible names, let's start with the most obvious. This is probably a square. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides that are equal. If you have four sides that are equal, that, ladies and gentlemen, is called a square. And if you have four sides that are equal, that, by definition, also makes it a rhombus. And if you ever have four right angles is the definition of a rectangle. Okay, there are other things that rectangles have, but rectangles have four 90-degree angles, rhombuses of four sides equal, and squares have to have four sides and four 90s. Okay? We also have a parallelogram because we have four parallel sides. Well, two sets of parallel sides. All right, did I miss any? Rhombus, parallelogram, quadrilateral. Oh, technically a quadrilateral or two, but all of these are going to be quadrilaterals. Okay? 14. What do we have? We have one set of parallel sides. We have another set of parallel sides. The only thing that this is allowed to be then is a parallelogram. Okay? Besides the fact that it is also considered a quadrilateral. I am not going to write the word quadrilateral for each and every one of these. Technically, we should throw this one out here too. For rhombus, not for number 14, but rhombus only has to have one set of parallel sides. This one has two, so that actually depends on your textbook, all right? So some textbooks say a rhombus is a shape that has a set of parallel sides, and then some of them just say that anything that has a set or more is also considered a rhombus. I would not consider number 13 a rhombus personally. All right, I would consider number 16 a rhombus because you see how we have a set of parallel sides. That, why did I say rhombus? Oh my gosh. Trapezoid. Trapezoid. Vocab, my friends. Trapezoid. Trapezoid has one set of parallel sides. Rhombuses have four sides that are equal. Which is number 15, a rhombus? Is a rhombus anything else? Well, a rhombus also, by definition, will have opposite sides being parallel. So it is also a parallelogram. All right? And some would argue that parallelograms are also trapezoids. I said the right word this time. So it could technically be considered that. 17. It is a kite because the adjacent sides are equal to each other. Kites are a unique creature. They are nothing else, ever. Okay? Next one. We got a rectangle because it has 1, 2, 3, 4 right angles, rectangle. And if it has 4 right angles, then they are also considered a parallelogram, which you might also consider it a trapezoid, but I personally would not. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Until next time, my friends, stay positive, and I will see y'all later. Bye.